The very first question, which is from Tristan Muir.
Thanks, Tony. My question is directed to Jane Goodall. I'd like to know, since you've spent many years studying chimpanzees and living with them, you're very well respected for your eminence in the area. I wonder, what can you learn from their behaviour, and how does that reflect upon the way we interact with each other and other species?
Well, you know, that question is, it could take a very long time to answer because we've now been studying them for 55 years. But basically, what we learn from the chimpanzees is how arrogant we have been to assume that we're the only beings on this planet with personalities, minds, and feelings. And the chimpanzees teach us very clearly that we are part of and not separated from the animal kingdom, and that we actually are the fifth great ape. Biologically, we're the fifth great ape. We differ from chimpanzees by only just over 1% in the composition of our DNA. And then there's all these similarities with the immune system and the blood and the anatomy of the brain, but also the way they communicate, kissing, embracing, holding hands, patting on the back, holding out the hand, begging for food, swaggering, shaking the fist. And close bonds between mothers and their developing offspring that can last through a lifestyle of up to 70 years. And males vying for dominance and actually very political.
The political, yes, and the darker side is that warfare exists in chimpanzee society, something that you recorded and other scientists said, oh, please don't say that. That will make it appear that violence is innate in us.
And I do believe that violence has come with us along a long evolutionary pathway. I mean, look around the world. Aren't we a violent species when provocated? I think so. But do we not have the intellect to control our violent behaviour?
What did you record of chimp warfare? Because that's something that I'm sure fascinates people along with the other side, the nicer parts of chimpanzee society, if you like.
Yes, they can be.
There's this male dominance that happens, and when alpha males fall into disrepute or become weaker, then warfare can happen.
Well, the main thing is that the males have close bonds, and they patrol the boundaries of a territory. They're very territorial. And if they see individuals from the neighbouring community, they will give chase, attack, and the victim is likely to die of wounds inflicted. It's very savage attacks. And over a 4-year period, the males of one community annihilated all the individuals who had moved to the south to form their own community. So it was the 4-year war.
Stuart Rees, I'll bring you in, founder of the Sydney Peace Prize. Does it worry you that perhaps violence is innate in human beings?
Sure. Look, I mean, I think we have a similar system here. It's called border protection in terms of patrolling the boundaries. I mean, what I learned from your work is that we shouldn't be ethnocentric. We shouldn't be human being centred in the way we look at this precious environment. That I also learned that you were criticised for not having the correct research methodology. I mean, a completely blind, conservative, conventional way at looking at research, and thank goodness you debunked and demystified that.
Yes, well, I was accused of, you know, I shouldn't, when I got to Cambridge, never having been there before, I was told I shouldn't have given the chimps names, they should have had numbers. I couldn't talk about them having personalities or minds or feelings. But fortunately, as a child, I had a wonderful teacher who taught me that was absolute rubbish, and that was my dog. Sure. Rusty.
Oh, beautiful. Rosalie, can I bring you in? You've learned a great deal from watching closely the animals around you in Utopia and other parts of the Northern Territory.
I hope you don't mean the humans around Utopia.
I wasn't necessarily referring to humans, no, not on this occasion.
Well, sometimes we believe that we are treated as subhumans because we are the First Nations people. And there is serious dialogue to be had there. And just listening to Jane about the chimpanzees, I think Australia needs to grow up and look outside of themselves. We are egotistical, we are self-serving, and we consume everything in our way. So just looking at the animals that Jane, thank goodness, has brought to us, we also need to learn from each living species before we destroy every species that's around and we're the last one standing.
Are you suggesting that human beings are not as evolved as they think they are?
I don't think so. I think they are. But I think the way we're destroying really quickly a lot of other species here. We've had some very unique animals in Australia. Let's stop, take a pause, and look outside of ourselves and our needs. That's how I feel.
Peter Coleman, listening to this, do you feel that perhaps human beings are not as highly evolved as we like to think we are?
Well, no, I don't. I take in what Jane has said about what chimpanzees have to teach us, but really the things that matter, art, literature, philosophy, science, I don't know that the chimpanzees really have anything to teach us comparable, you know, with Shakespeare, Plato, and so on. So it's a fascinating subject for study, and maybe we can learn things, but I don't really think that they are in the same quarter, in the same region as we are in the things that we value in civilization. And that's what I think.
Do you want to respond to that quickly, Jane?
I'll respond quickly. The point is that the biggest difference between us and the chimpanzees is the explosive development of the human intellect. And chimpanzees are way more intelligent than we ever thought. You know, they can use touchpads and computers. They can learn 500 signs of American Sign Language. But that doesn't compare with a creature that sent a rocket up to Mars with a little robot that crawls around taking photographs. It doesn't compare with Shakespeare. So the question is, this most intellectual creature that's ever walked the planet, why on earth are we destroying our only home?
We'll come back to that issue. Let's go to Betty. And Betty, I wonder if you would take up Peter's point there, because the truth is that great art is one of the things that separates humans from every other species.
Absolutely right, but I'll tell you what is similar, and that is when we're jostling for position. And in any, whether it's at the National Gallery or anywhere, when a vacancy is about to occur, the jostling and the manipulating of the situation is very similar. Now, of course...
Can I just ask, have you seen people in the art world behaving like chimpanzees?
Oh, yes. I have.
It does sound a bit like politics, Peter, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I was thinking all the while that Jane was talking, I thought, well, they may not have much in common with our artists, our writers, but they seem to have something in common with our politicians. Though the method of disposing of the old is a little harsher than we are used to.
Yes, but they do it metaphorically in politics, don't they? Let's move on.